And we're going a cappella with Elliot's Pump Fake. Welcome to the Pump Fake Pod. We got the legendary Stooley Picks in the house with his Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Took that Brewers flag off. Didn't get to mention that of recent episodes. But he's happy about his Packers last Sunday. And so shout out my man Stooley in the top left. We got Elliot in the top right. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. How we feeling, boys? 31 conference previews down. If you're tuning into the Pump Fake Pod and you tuned into all of our previews, thank you. If you've tuned into 1 minute of our previews, we appreciate you. So maybe a little longer, but no, I'm kidding. But anywho, I'm Michael _Huffer3. That's Stooley Picks, Trevor Vandenbosch Jones, and that's Elliot Money. I'm _Money. Fellas, how we doing? How we feeling? Almost over the hump and the grind of these conference previews.
Muted. Yeah, feeling great. A little tired from staying up till 2 a.m. to watch Game 3 last night, but incredible game. I tweeted out, I was like, if this game was a Friday or Saturday, it'd be the greatest World Series game ever played. Instead, it was a Monday when everybody had to work the next day, and it got to be annoying. So had to stay up for it. Historical game, but yeah, tired AF. But we're gonna cruise through it one more, and can't wait to be picking games. I'll be right back. I gotta grab my Zins.
Okay, yeah, grab those Zins. Elliot, Big Ten, almost done with these previews. We're about to be on the grind and off on the run here.
Yes, sir. It's gonna be it was a fun time. First time doing this top to bottom, all 31 teams. I think I'm the most prepared that I've probably ever been. I'm going into a college basketball season, so definitely looking forward to seeing how that translates with kind of this November, and then adjusting to everything that comes with November, like we typically do, and then kind of take off there in December, January, and February when we kind of see our best months. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to all the work that we've put in to kind of come to fruition. So kind of a end of an era tonight, end of a season per se, and with the preseason, and then we kind of have a little transition period, this 4 or 5 day window of getting prepared and getting ready to go to war for these next November, December, January, February, March, 5.5, 6 months. So looking forward to it.
5.5, 6 months. Elliot's got a live, laugh, love sign above him. I got my blinds behind me. Maybe some Elliot's got the setup. If you haven't seen, though, he will be flexing that on our betting shows, and it's inspired me as I move into my new home to maybe build a wall. He's got a 4 TV setup with the splitter to combine the setups into 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4 or 4x4, and then all of one, like it's a bar. So it's a fine setup. He will show you. I'm sure on the betting shows and maybe some live watch parties this year. So, yes, in my blinds, in my kitchen, my neighbors probably think I'm shooting porn with all the lights on. So, no, that's not what's happening. But we are talking good stuff here. The Big Ten Conference, if not the best conference. Indiana State invented basketball. Don't care what people say. It's not Massachusetts. Northeast can't have it. It's the Midwest that basically passioned basketball, I should say. And I'll take Wisconsin. I'll take Kansas even too as well. A lot of history with all of these teams in college basketball, even though Kansas is not in the Big Ten. But we did talk about them recently, and I want to just have a disclaimer before we go into our Big Ten that I'm way more high on Kansas after watching their film and highlights over their last weekend. Holy cow. They're going to be much better than 5th in the Big 12 where I rank them. Does anyone want to say anything? Any thoughts on the scrimmages before we dive in to the Big Ten?
Yeah, I'm not buying the Kansas Fugazi shit. I still have them 6th or 7th. That one freshman went nuts. Congratulations, it's exhibition. Obviously they're trying, but they're not running anything. They're not showing anything. It's just going through the motion game. So let me see it a few more times before I start maybe believing in this Kansas hype.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be good. It's just in the Big 12, it's a gauntlet. It's going to take one of their, if Peterson ends up getting hurt or something like that could definitely be a tough task for KU. I think they're going to rely on him for a significant portion of their scoring. I know he dealt with cramps there at the Louisville game, was out for the second half, kind of played minimally, and they're taking precaution. They play again tonight, play Fort Hays State in the last exhibition game, but they withheld him from play just as a precaution. So obviously don't want him to get hurt because he's going to be kind of the piece there in their offense. But I'm with Trev. Don't over exaggerate. We always like to over exaggerate after one game, so don't do it, Huff.
I think they're gonna be higher in fifth. I just got that gut feeling now after good live better. It's what's called at college basketball. I am. But anywho, let's get into it. Alphabet, you know the drill. We go alphabets. We talking every team, all 366, however many there are, 365. I'm not sure. I haven't even looked at Ken Palm. I don't care. I'm going to do that heavy because we got a big futures episode tomorrow. And then we also have the big betting show on Sunday, November 2nd. We're going to start a little earlier. Lines come out probably like 10 Eastern. We'll start then, and we'll get all the games going with 8 a.m. kickoff. So tip-off, excuse me. But anyway, let's get into it. Big Ten, fun conference. Hasn't won an NCAA championship since Mateen Cleaves in 2000. They've been to many Final Fours, many the usual suspects as well too. They couldn't get over the bowl hump in football for quite some time, but now the Big Ten kind of shifting gears with the SEC. There's a little cosmic shift, you can say, in the sports. But down year for the Big Ten. Do you guys think it is a down year again, or do you think that there's it's looking up for the Big Ten this year as a whole?
I mean, I think the top powerhouses of the conference are going to be well known and just be like a tier above everyone else. But I think there's still some scrappy teams, some good teams. I mean, there's some good coaches in this league and guys who have done done some things with less of impressive roster. So I mean, Northwestern's really, really young. So, I mean, we'll see how that works, especially given the experience and how much talent they had the last couple of years. We'll see how they do. But, I mean, Illinois just revamped with basically a Serbian Pro Bowl lineup. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting year in the Big Ten, but I think it'll be, fairly competitive outside of top 4 or 5 powerhouses. I think those teams will pretty much just be cleaning up shop. Majority of the year, whoever they play.
Yeah, I think collectively, maybe 1 through 12, 1 through 14 will be a lot better. It's not like the SEC where you have the 16 teams and pretty much everybody is going to be at or above 500 there in the non-conference. I think it's similar. I think it does hurt them though that they've expanded so far out and have those 18 teams. Just makes it very hard to get a good, very deep conference per se. And the other thing that kind of sucks is then you don't really play a lot of these, as the conferences continue to expand, Big 12, Big 10, SEC. Personally, it sucks because you don't get, you may just play somebody once. You don't have that back to, home and home kind of a series. I personally don't buy into too much of the regular season conference champion anymore because of that, just because there's different schedules for all these different teams. So, as they kind of get to those bigger kind of mega conferences, that's the only unfortunate thing that I feel like is depth of the entire conference. And then also just the fact that they're not playing everybody in the conference, which kind of sucks, or at least home and home in that regard.
I agree. It's a problem. Conglomerates, they're everywhere. They're all across the United States, and they're officially in college basketball and conferences and college football for sure. All right, fellas, let's get into it. The Illinois Fighting Illini out of Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, last season 22-13, 12-18, tied for 7th in the Big Ten. 3 returning starters though for Brad Underwood. 165 and 101 through 8 years. I like Brad Underwood. He's kind of an asshole, but I like coaches that are assholes, and he cares about a lot of his players. You got Petrovic, you got Ivkovic, Stojakovic coming in from California, the Ivkovic brothers, Mirkovic, Hugh Rotrovic. I'm all excited about these guys in Illinois. There's some feisty players. We basically got the Yugoslavian national team from the '90s on this, and I'm super excited about that. And a lot of good freshmen coming in for Illinois, so they're definitely going to be coming in guns blazing, going to be shooting the three. A lot of their big men that they have, the overseas big men, that no issues whatsoever at shooting. They definitely have been able to shoot the ball, but they kind of were streaky at times, super volatile last year. So maybe with some extra experience with some of their returning players, they can calm that down, and be a little more efficient. But Illinois, they got a good non-conference schedule. They got a lot of players playing UConn in Madison Square Garden, which is awesome. Definitely a few other teams that we've mentioned and talked about. I'm super excited about Illinois. I mean, how can you not be? Maybe just kind of similar to last year, kind of middle of the Big Ten, with a little more hype going into the season, just kind of like their football season this year. But I think they'll be just fine. They'll win at home, and Stojakovic is going to take a massive jump after going from Cal to Illinois. So yeah, I like Illinois. They're going to be middle of the road, flirting with the top of the Big Ten.
Yeah, Illinois for me. I like Illinois. Where are they sitting here? Yeah, 3 returning starters, but I mean, you lost Jack Achunas, Trey White, Riley, Morez Johnson, Gibbs Longhorn, you lose those guys, but I mean, they added Mahalo Petrovic, Serbian pro ball for 6 years, Stojakovic from Cal, like you mentioned. They got the Avicic brothers, both of them. They've got a lot of size, they got a lot of talent, a lot of experience, and a lot of depth on this team. I mean, last year Illinois was an absolute wagon until they came down with injuries and like they had a sickness, and it was just basically like a whole month of just nonsense going on and off with this team, and just really set them back. So I'm really high on this Illinois team. I think they're going to be really, really good. They've got a lot of size and depth. I think they're just going to be able to rotate those guys out. Not to mention the guy running point has played pro ball basically for 6 years. So I think they'll be just fine. I think Illinois is going to be one of the classes of the Big 12 or Big 10.
Yeah, they got all the itches, as I like to say. But I'm high on Petrovic. I'm curious. I don't know if you guys have seen. You guys are more of the Big Ten gurus. I haven't paid as much attention, but I know there was an eligibility issue for Petrovic. He'll be the starting point guard if he's able to be eligible. I know he sat out the first exhibition game, at least maybe even the second. So that'd be something to kind of keep an eye out for. And then Stojakovic, he's kind of been sidelined with a knee injury. So not quite sure if they're going to have him kind of full blast right at the beginning of the season or not. But a guy I'm high on is backup point guard Keaton Wagler, Kansas City kid, went to Shawnee Mission Northwest, won 2 state championships there for Northwest. Real tall, 6'6", 180. He's pretty skinny, but he added about 10, 15 pounds over the summer. Coach Underwood thinks he's better than Io DeSomino when he came in. Domino, I call him, as a freshman. But really kind of an elite shooter, shot 45% from the 3. I watched him up close and personal. It's only about a 25-minute drive to watch him. They also have the number 2 recruit in the nation. He's going to be a senior this year for Shawnee Mission Northwest. He's a 7'1" center, so look out for him next year. But, really impressed with what he has. And then don't forget about Kylan Boswell. He's coming back, shooting guard for Illinois. So you guys mentioned all those Serbian guys, all the itches. But I think those 2 players will definitely be able to take advantage and be key players, along with Ben Humerich. He comes from Evansville, tall, 6'10" guy. He's a shooter. So I think the NBA actually really likes him just because of his size and his shooting capability. So he's something that can fit kind of that pro style basketball that Coach Underwood really likes. So yeah, just keep in mind, be watching out for if Petrovic is eligible or not. Not quite sure. I didn't get a chance to look into it because that would be a big loss for them. And then I expect, Brad Underwood, K-State guy. I always like rooting for the K-State guys, the coaching trees there that come from K-State. I think he's done a pretty good job there at Illinois, and I wouldn't expect nothing less from him this year as well.
Oh, I don't know why. Is my video lagging? I don't care. But what's not lagging is going to be the Indiana Hoosiers this year. I know that Trevor's going to say another year of fake hype, but guess what? They don't have much hype. They just have a couple good non-whatever eligible wins. Indiana shot 20 from 21 from free throws. That's unheard of for IU in the past 20 years since Bob Knight, I would say. Mike Davis days, and those were bleak. So impressive stat line there. That's something to get excited about. They beat Baylor. But we're not too excited about secret scrimmages all the time and not so secret scrimmages. But I really like that they're able to spread the ball, be able to run the floor. They got multiple positionless players, but also guys that can also be stagnant at a position as well and know their role, but play at all positions. Great shooters in DeVries, Bailey, Lamar Wilkerson from Sam Houston State. We've talked about him a few times and his transfer. But DeVries was popping off. Connor Enright and Tayton Connerway with the coast-to-coast layup to be the go-ahead basket. He's going to be a massive guard for IU. So I'm excited. Connerway comes in from Troy. You got they picked up Trent Sisley, a freshman. So DeVries is getting guys that come in from in-state. That always matters. I mean, that matters to Indiana fans. They've been begging for that for a long time. And sometimes they get it, but a lot of them have been going to Purdue or out of state as well. So great gets. Jason Drake from Drexel off the bench. I'm going to enjoy him. I think he could be a good role player in the background, definitely. But, yeah, Reed Bailey, Nick Dorn, Lamar Wilkerson, Tucker DeVries. I'm excited about these guys. There's a lot of different players that could be the leader of a certain game, be in the high stat lines, and it seems like there's a lot of selfishness or unselfishness going on the floor, which hasn't been the case for Indiana. So I'm excited about this hire with Tucker DeVries. He was able to win games for West Virginia when they were down and out in the preseason polls, beat Gonzaga in the Atlantis tournament. And maybe that's where there was some whispers going on that, hey, Darian, do you want to go to Indiana? But at the end of the day, it's the right hire. They're doing good things. I'm not going to get too excited, but I will be still a little irrational as a fan. And I think things are looking up for Indiana, and it's the right hire for now and on paper. And I think we actually have a good in-game coach for once versus a recruiter, but he also can recruit. He's got good assistants, and he's bringing a good energy back into Assembly Hall. I enjoyed Mike Woodson, for what we had. It kind of ended badly, but I felt like Mike Woodson, at the end of the day, there was some, I'm going to get Indiana back with the idea versus the execution as what it takes to be a coach. And DeVries doesn't necessarily have to understand that, but he knows the history of IU. He's not an alumni, which I think is a good thing. And DeVries is going to take this program back to some prominence. I truly believe that, which I haven't been too excited about a hire and quite like this. And I've seen it on paper. They won some games in Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic, wherever they went. And, a good win against Baylor. And I like the what they all been saying in the media days, way more than I have in the past years, and a lot of good heads on shoulders. So yeah, Lamar Wilkerson, DeVries. Listen, I'm a fan. Disclaimer, but I'm not going to be too high on them. Not a lot of people are too high on Indiana. They could be a middle of the road team, but a sneaky team. And if they can defend the home court like they should, and one of the toughest places to play, they'll be just fine in the Big Ten. And somehow they were 10-10 last year and finished ninth with that horrible season. So it was a down year for the Big Ten, yes. And I think Indiana will be just fine. And just hopefully everyone just stays healthy and doesn't get arrested. I don't think this team will.
Yeah, no, I think you're good there. But yeah, I mean, basically just reiterating what you said, who they all had: Tucker DeVries, Reed Bailey, Nick Thorne, Dane Connerway, Connor Enright, Sam Alexis, Josiah Miles, Josh Harris, Jason Drake. I mean, they added a bunch, and they even added some pro ball players. And Andre Asimovich, under 19 Bosnian national team he played on. So they've got talent on this roster up and down. Maybe the names aren't eye-popping, but a lot of these guys can play and know what they're doing at their respective levels. So we'll see how they make the jump up here. But I think on paper, IU's got a decent team. It's nothing flashy. It's, no giant name players, maybe Tucker DeVries, but other than that, it's, they've got some pieces. So Tucker's going to do Tucker things and go for, 15 to 22 points a game per usual, but it's what everyone else around him will do. So if they can find some, backup or some support players, somebody to get a bucket, take the heat off of him a little bit, he'd be able to make shots, knock down shots. I think Indiana could have a fairly decent year this year.
Yeah, I think this coaching hire, massive upgrade. I'm excited for what Indiana has with DeVries. I just hope Tucker stays healthy in his last year. Would love to see him go out. Always a exciting player to watch, and I just hate for those players that deserve to have a healthy season end it with a season-ending injury like he went out last year. Think maybe he was kind of not necessarily babying it, but kind of putting off and slow playing the injury, letting it heal a little bit longer, just because he maybe knew that he wanted to make the move as things were kind of getting in motion, possibly. But I'm big on those two North Florida guys that you mentioned, Trev. I also like Sam Alexis, who they brought over from Florida. He's kind of a guy that they add in that good winning championship pedigree, came over from Florida, injured his ankle on middle of February, so wasn't able to kind of make that national championship run there, but, brings a guy from the SEC who can definitely compete down low there at the power forward spot. So I think he's another guy, another piece that DeVries will be able to use at his disposal. And then they test themselves pretty good. They open up with Alabama A&M, but then they play against Marquette there in the United Center in Chicago. And then a few weeks later, they end up playing in Assembly Hall against K-State. Might have to make my way up there to watch that game with you, Huff, there in Assembly Hall. Maybe we can take that in together. And then they also go to Gainbridge, play Louisville, and then they go to Rupp and play at Kentucky. So testing themselves early and often there in the non-conference season. And then they also have Bethune-Cookman. So watch out for Bethune at home.
Hey, well, Winthrop, too. We got Winthrop. I mean, that's a decent buy game. Winthrop's a good buy game.
Don't sleep at home against Bethune. But yeah, no, I think they test themselves early and often there in the non-conference, which is going to be able to, allow them to get better and get prepared for the Big Ten. You look at it, unfortunately, they have to play Purdue twice. Just one of the caveats of being the matchups. But got to play Purdue twice. That's the only unfortunate thing.
Twice. What does that have to do with anything? And it hasn't been an issue, and it wasn't an issue for Mike Woodson too bad. It's
just unfortunate. I mean, it's just unfortunate for you that a lot of people are seeing the number one preseason ranked team only once, who has a lot of talent, but you guys unfortunately have to see them twice.
They got embarrassed by Kentucky though, and their little scrimmage.
Not saying it's an issue. I'm just saying it's unfortunate for you that you have to do that, but hey, you'll be battle tested there in the non-conference. So I expect big things. I expect them to finish higher than ninth, and I think DeVries was the right hire for IU.
Yep. We always play Purdue twice, except for when they did that bullshit little fucking division. Iowa Hawkeyes, Iowa City, Iowa last season, 17-16 for Fran McCaffrey's final year, 7-13 in the Big Ten. They bring in Ben McCollum from Drake, and he brings over a lot of pieces: Bennett Sturts, Isaiah Howard, Cale Combs, Cam Wahoo, and Tavion Banks, and a couple others. So yeah, I like. I mean, Ben McCollum's a winner. There's not a lot. I mean, there's not nothing else to it. Google him. He wins. He did in the other Division 3. I think it was D2. And then immediately comes into Drake and takes them back to the NCAA champion or tournament, and had 30 wins. He knows how to get the system. It's going to be an Iowa football offense. It ain't going to be a Fran McCaffrey normal Iowa run and gun style of play. Let's score 150 points. He's going to kind of spread the floor, really grind out possessions and how McCollum plays, and I like that. And we're going to see some low scoring on the basketball side, just like in football for Iowa. But he did really good in the portal as well too. I liked who he brought in. He brings in Alvario Fulgarius from Robert Morris, Horizon Player of the Year last year, and then Brandon Housen as well, which I'll let Elliot talk about. Don't know too much about him personally. But yeah, Peyton McCollum as well coming in from Iowa, so a little interesting name there with Ben. But hey, I mean it's going to be interesting seeing him take a big jump right into the Big Ten. So that's kind of a wild card for me. But with him being a proven winner, I can't be too low on Iowa personally.
Yeah, I mean McCollum is he's been really good. No returning starters, but he brought with him from Drake, Bennett Sturts, Isaiah Howard, Cale Combs, Cam Maniawu, Tavion Banks, and Joey Mattioni, along with our boy Alvarell Fogieris from Bobby Moe, Horizon Player of the Year, and then Brendan Housen from Kansas State made 93 pointers. So they're freshmen, Iowa Mr. Basketball, and they got the number 59 recruiter along with McCollum's kid. Joining the team too. Well, back on the team. So we'll see that. But, McCollum's had success everywhere he goes. He goes to Iowa. He's got majority of his team last year that, was the impact and made moves and did stuff and were very competitive at Drake. Won a tournament game. So this team is, I think they're going to be pretty good. I know it's a jump up to go to the Big Ten, but McCollum's had success everywhere he goes. Didn't miss a beat at Drake. Now he's going to bring these guys with him. I think it's going to be a good unit. Not to mention the two portal pieces they got. Are going to be huge and some talented freshmen. So I'm high on Iowa. I don't think they're going to compete to win, but I don't think they're going to be scrubs at all in this league either. I think they're going to catch some teams similar to like what Signetti at IU brought his majority of his team over, and they had a ton of success. So I think Iowa's going to have some success this year too and catch some teams just because McCollum's so damn good and he's got a lot of players back with him who were at Drake.
Yeah, Bennett Sturts is a dog. I knew he was gonna transfer to Iowa, follow Ben McCollum, but I was really hoping that he'd come to K-State. He's a guy just north of Kansas City, from Liberty. Was a K-State fan growing up. His girlfriend actually is a cheerleader on K-State's cheer squad. So I had this inkling in the back of my mind that maybe he would choose us and transfer, but no brainer to go with Ben, follow Ben to Iowa there in the Big Ten. So I really love watching Sturts play. I think they surrounded him with the appropriate players. Not only the guys that come in from Drake, but you guys had mentioned with Alvaro Fulgieris and Brendan Housen, two guys that can shoot the ball. You surround Sturts with shooters. He can drive the ball, score off the dribble, but then also make the appropriate play, make the right pass, and allow these guys to stroke the three. Housen, he's known as the Amarillo assassin because he does what he does. He shoots threes. Like Trev said, made 90, shot it at a 39% clips. Started 33 games for us last year. was kind of a tough loss. I think, he was ready for something new. He was originally at Villanova, transferred over, and we had him for 2 years. Shoots it really well, shoots it at a high clip, takes some outrageous long threes that if you watch Iowa this year, you'll be like, what the fuck was that? And then half of them will go in, and you'll be like, oh, okay. But another guy I'll mention, Trevin Jirac, 6'11", 250-pound center. He was Mr. Iowa basketball, originally committed to UNI, which I thought was a good get for UNI. However, then he flipped his decision once Ben McCollum came over to Iowa and is now going to be there for Iowa. So look out for him, maybe to make an immediate impact as a freshman. Big kind of center that he can utilize to back up Manuel. So I'm excited. We'll see. Not fairly quickly. I'm excited to see the annual Cyhawk on the hard court this year. I think it's there at the beginning of December sometime. That'll really be kind of a prove it game to see where Iowa's at when they face Iowa State. So don't expect anything less. I think they're going to definitely be better in Ben McCollum's hands, and I would expect McCollum to keep on winning. Won at Northwest Missouri State, won 4 out of 5 D2 national championships. Came over to Drake, translated it into a 30-win season there at Drake, and I expect nothing less here to have a winning program right off the bat.
They always will compete against Iowa State, but I don't know what their other non-conferences, but that will be a prove-it game for sure. All right, the Maryland Terrapins, College Park, Maryland, last season 27-9, 14-6 in the Big Ten, tied for second under Kevin Willard, bringing in Texas A&M's coach Buzz Williams, who lands Miles Rice from Indiana and reunites with his backcourt member at Washington State, getting Isaiah Watts. So some continuity there. Buzz Williams loves his guard play. We may see just a massive jump for those guys. I know Miles Rice can shoot the ball at times when he wants to. He's hot when he's hot. When he's not, when he's not. And that's kind of what you get with a Buzz Williams team. Tons of freshmen coming in, so he's going low. Gets David Coit from Kansas, who's a little older at least. You get an Andre Mills, who was number 90, top 100, number 92, and some rankings, number 150 per Rivals. And then a freshman in Darius Adams, who's a little higher on the rankings list. So he's going young, which I think is good for the future of Maryland. And Buzz Williams is fine knowing that, hey, this year may be a little bumpy. This year may be a little tougher than less. But Maryland definitely can compete at home as well. It's a really tough environment. We know how Buzz Williams is gonna focus on guard play. He's gonna focus on physicality, playing tough, playing till the end of the whistle, and that's what Buzz expects. I mean, he dresses in a 9-piece suit every game, and brings a tenacity as well, and demands discipline basketball, and sometimes his system breeds volatility as well. And I think that's what you get with some of these guards and the way that they shoot. So they're going to have to take a major step up. There's definitely some good players. You bring in Payne from Texas A&M, but no Wade Taylor, none of that. That dream's over with Buzz Williams. He's going to start a new backcourt from the ground up, and did okay in the portal. They have good non-conference games. I can't be too high on Maryland just with their talent, but the future looks bright for them with Buzz Williams, and we kind of know what to expect with Buzz Williams as well too.
Buzz coming in, big overhaul in the roster, 0 returning players from last year at all. I mean, they added Miles Rice, Isaiah Watts from Wazoo, Coit, Darius Adams, number 15 recruit in the country, Pharrell Payne from A&M, Solomon Washington follows him as well. He did his best to build a roster. I mean, he's got some decent pieces. I mean, nothing eye-popping. I mean, Miles Rice, people know the name. Coit know the name. Solomon Washington and Pharrell Payne, with him. But There's nothing really like eye popping on this roster that stands out. I think Buzz is a great coach. I think he's going to coach them to win a few games, maybe a couple of games that maybe they didn't have business winning, but they play hard. He's a great X's and O's coach and gets the most out of these guys. So I think they'll have some spots, but this is going to be a far cry from last year's team. This is definitely going to take some figuring out and growing to get it locked in for Maryland. I mean, Buzz is going to have it rolling in a couple of years at least, but this year I think is going to be a little bit of a struggle for the Terps.
Yeah, Miles Rice and Isaiah Watts team up again. They were both at Washington State before Rice ended up transferring to Indiana, so some familiarity there in the backcourt. You also have David Coit, you mentioned, Trev, and then you have Rakeese Passmore. Both are coming over from KU. I think those are guys that are both good gets for Buzz in his first year with the Terrapins. They didn't get a lot of burn last year with Bill Self there at KU, but I think that the talent's there, and I think he'll be able to kind of get it out of them, especially with them being guards. Then they bring over some good some guys there from Texas A&M there in the front court, Solomon Washington, Pharrell Payne. So both are guys that I think are familiar with the system. So I think he did a good job of bringing in the talent that he needed at the guard play level, and then brought in some guys there in the front court that he's familiar with. It's definitely not going to be a Crab 5 type of a season. They're definitely not going to be there in that top upper echelon of the Big Ten this year. Might be, I wouldn't necessarily call it more of a rebuilding year, but I expect them to be somewhat competitive here in the Big Ten. His teams are always going to be hard nosed and play tough physical defense, which will translate well here in the Big Ten. And then I'm just looking forward to their second home game. They play against Georgetown. That'll be a big kind of a game to see how both of those teams kind of are looking at the start of the season. And then they go to Milwaukee, play Marquette in I believe it's in the Bucks the Bucks arena. I'm not sure. Is that Fizerev or whatever arena there in Milwaukee? And then they also go to they play Fiserv. Yeah, they also play in Vegas against Gonzaga. So they've definitely tested themselves there in the non-conference, and we'll kind of see where they're at. But overall, my biggest concern maybe is more so of the depth. And just especially in the backcourt, I think they brought in some guys. However, did they bring in enough to really kind of make a strong push and be deep at that 1 through 3 position? So that would be what I'd be most concerned about here as the season's getting ready to tip off.
Yeah, definitely. I was super high on them. The Washington State link back up. Definitely high on them, but that's kind of the only thing I'm high on them about with the backcourt. All right, the Michigan Wolverines out of Ann Arbor, Michigan last season, 27-10, 14-6, 2 returning starters for Dusty May, and he did good in the portal. Trevor, let's let you go first. You love your boy Dusty May. I know you got a soft spot for him, although he went to Michigan, so.
Yeah, of all places, Michigan was one of the worst to go to. I guess better than IU for me personally. But 2 returning starters. 2 returning starters. Dusty May's back. Lost Donaldson, Wolf, and Golden. But they added Cadeau, Yaxel Landenborg, and Adaim Mara, the 7'3" guy from UCLA. So they added 2 bigs down low, which is going to be huge. And then they got Namari Burnett, Roddy Gale Jr., and Will Shetter back. They added Trey McKinney, freshman, Mr. Basketball, 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year, and number 18 recruit out of Michigan. Winters Grady, 17 points a game, 7 boards, 2 assists in the freshman class. I mean, they added elite size talent, top down in this roster. I think Cadeau's going to help run this offense a lot better than Donaldson was and did. I think Cadeau's going to be a huge upgrade for them, and then you're going to have Yaxel and Mara down there. This is going to be like one of the more formidable, front courts in the Big Ten here. So I I think Michigan's gonna be damn good. I think honestly, this is one of Dusty May's best teams since that Final Four team he's had. So I think Michigan's gonna be damn good this year. This is gonna be a really good team, a far cry from the Howard days when they were they were pretty ugly. So yeah, high on Michigan this year. I think they're going to be good, unfortunately.
You going Huff or me?
Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, I agree with Trev. I think they're one of the most talented teams in the Big Ten. Personally, feel like they've got an excellent front court. Obviously, that comes with bringing in Yaxel Lindeborg. You bring in Elliot Cadeau to kind of run the ship there at point guard. Not as high on that. I haven't been the biggest Elliot Cadeau fan ever since he was at North Carolina. But they do bring in Namari Burnett coming over as well. And then obviously, like you mentioned, Roddy Gale. So I think the position that they'll be best at is going to be there in the front court. And I think that they have one of, if not the best front court there in the Big Ten, not only in talent, but also in depth as well. You got Morez Johnson coming off the bench. And you also have Will Tester coming off the bench as well. Two guys that are big, 6'8", 250-pound guys that are going to fill up space, but who also have talent, kind of fit that mold that Dusty May likes, with the guys that he's had in the backcourt there at FAU and at Michigan. I look for Michigan to kind of be near the top yet again with the transfer portal pieces that they brought in to replace those guys that they lost.
Yeah, Axel Lindenberg, you guys said it best. Enough said there. I mean, Roddy Gale was pretty good for Ohio State and Michigan. Cadeau, I'm not too high on as well. I'd have to agree with Elliott, but some good freshmen they bring in. Trey McKinney, in-state recruit, and then Winters Grady as well too. I love that name, Winters Grady, from Napa, California. So interesting gets there for Dusty May. He's also planning for the future, trying to get some guys in there to stay long term, which I think is always good to as a nice little security deposit and a security piece and an insurance product of your transfer portals as well too, to garner some experience. So yeah, how can you not be high on Michigan? Probably a top 25 team, which you'll see tomorrow on our top 25 episodes and futures. But we've been ranking them all. Michigan will be very good, and we love Dusty May on the Pump Fake Pod. All right, the Michigan State Spartans out of East Lansing, Michigan last season, 30-7, first in the regular season, 17-3. Two returning starters for Tom Izzo, but really like four rotational pieces. You bring back Kohler, Cohen Carr. Michigan State is. I'm never worried about them. I don't care like the talent in their preseason. When they're lower on them in the preseason, they normally finish higher. It's bullish. They always come in with a chip on their shoulders. So yeah, Fears Jr., Cohen Carr, Kohler, as I mentioned, and then you have some freshmen that Izzo can work with Cam Ward, not the quarterback, but from Maryland, Jordan Scott as well too. I mean, talent wise, they're pretty young. They lack experience, but that's never an issue with Tom Izzo, who's 737, 302, entering his 31st year and got to an Elite Eight last year as well. 27 consecutive NCAA tournament berths, or I think this is going to be number 28 here. They may be flirting with the top 25, probably not preseason ranked top 25, but I know that they're going to jump into that at some point. They're going to get a gritty win because they're super underrated. But I do want to see this talent compete, and we will be able to. They always play some good non-conference teams. on the big stage before the Big Ten. So, yeah, Izzo knows the systems of other. He knows how to win in the Big Ten, work with what he got, and he still brings back some key pieces from last season. So I think Michigan State is super underrated this year, and no one should sleep on the Spartans.
Yeah. Michigan State. Let me find their right here. Yeah, 2 returning starters. I mean, and then you got Cohen Carr, Jeremy Fears, Kohler, Carson Cooper all coming back, and you add Caleb Glenn from FAU, Trey Fort from Samford, and then Divine Chukwu from Miami, and then Cam Ward, 6'8", freshman, 6'8", 225 pounds, 29.5 points a game, 12, almost 13 boards a game, 4 assists and 3 blocks. Jordan Scott, Jesse McCulloch, who's also 22.5 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks a game. So I mean, Michigan State, they got a bunch of their key starters and rotational pieces coming back. I mean, Cohen Carr's just been going nuclear in these scrimmages and whatnot I've been seeing. I mean, he's literally murdering the rim. He's high flying. So they added a bunch of pieces that I like. They have a bunch of returners. You got Izzo. It's always good. And then the freshmen you brought in are incredibly talented too. And the portal pieces they brought in were ones that they needed and will fit. So I think it's going to be another great team for Izzo, especially if those freshmen get involved and start getting some minutes and can get impactful minutes. I think Michigan State's going to be a really, really good team. So yeah, I'm all in on Michigan State this year.
Yeah, I love Jeremy Fears.
I gotta dip baseball real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, I love Jeremy Fears, the sophomore point guard there. I'm glad that Izzo was able to bring back him as well. Trev mentioned the 3 guys that they brought in there via the transfer. 3 transfers, that's Izzo's highest transfer portal additions that he's ever brought in to his program. He's been a guy that's kind of been resistant of the transfer portal and is typically just gone with the JUCO players and the freshman players and then built them up through the program. And of course that's worked for him. It's how he's always done it. And why if it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of a philosophy in his regard. But the only unfortunate thing is Caleb Glenn coming over from FAU. He was going to be looking to be one of those big pieces there for the Spartans this year, but he tore his patellar tendon there in June. So he had to have season-ending surgery. So they won't have him for this year, which is unfortunate. But I do like Trey Fort coming in from Samford, and I also like the guy Divine Chukwu coming in from Miami as well. Kind of cool. He wears number 99, and he's going to rock number 99 yet again this year. I think that's kind of just a cool jersey number. You don't see it very often. But you guys mentioned Cohen Carr. He's probably one of my favorite players in college basketball right now. I've kind of followed him ever since he was a freshman. Super athletic kid, always been athletic, but he hustles. He plays the game the right way. He does everything, exactly how Izzo would want a player to be, and that's why he sees the floor so often and so frequent. He's diving for loose balls, doing all the scrappy things to create wins for his team. Super unselfish, and throughout his last 2 years, he's grown as a player. He's gotten more, skilled at certain things, which has made him even more effective on the offensive end. He's always been a threat on the defensive end, just with his athleticism and vertical jumping ability to get up and block shots. And he's always been that lob threat, but he's really kind of made himself into a really good college basketball player. And he's someone that I'll, continue to watch and continue to root for, just because I like the style that he plays. So like you guys both said, hard to fade Sparty ever when Izzo's at the helm. Doesn't matter, if they had 8 guys healthy, 6 guys healthy, if they only had a bunch of freshmen, if they, doesn't really matter who you're throwing out there on the floor. As long as there's 5 guys to compete, Izzo's going to find a way to get it done and find a way to be very competitive here in the Big Ten. So don't sleep on them. You'd be stupid to have them outside the top 5. Definitely stupid to have them outside the top 6 there in the Big Ten. And you're definitely stupid if you ever fade Izzo in March.
The Golden Gophers out of Minneapolis, 15-17, 7-13, tied for 12th. They let go of Ben Johnson. 0 returning starters as they bring in Nico Medved coming from Colorado State. Only 2 roster returnees, Isaac Azuma and Grayson Grove, but a ton of transfers. Cade Tyson from North Carolina, Langston Reynolds from Northern Colorado, Chancey Willis Jr. From Western Michigan, BJ Amat from California, Chance Stevens, who played some at Minnesota or at Maryland as well, Nehemiah Turner from Central Arkansas. So kind of people all over the place. So I don't really know what to think of this roster. I don't think he's going to have these guys ready to go year one, but he definitely knows how to get a system rolling. He's been a proven winner everywhere he's went. So I think he can get Minnesota back to some glory and get out of the cellar in the Big Ten, but maybe not quite year one with this roster. But this roster is a wild card with the transfer pieces. But I think it definitely I definitely think it's a bright future ahead for the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You see, they bring in a lot of mid-major players coming up to try to compete at this Big Ten level, and I just don't see talent-wise of that translating very well. Maybe they'll be feisty there at home, like Minnesota teams are typically always are. Curious to just see, it's always hard when you're a mid-major coach coming up into the high major level, and you've got to basically retool the entire roster. I think it's going to be a building year for Medved here. I think Minnesota fans just need to be patient, trust the process, trust in what he's built. You saw what he built there at Colorado State. Took him a few years, and then they reaped the benefits of what was sowed in those first few years with him at the helm there at Colorado State. So curious to see, how they do. They start out, in non-conference play, test themselves a little bit with playing at Missouri. But other than that, they've got winnable games pretty much up until they open Big Ten play at home against IU. I'm excited to watch the San Francisco and Minnesota. They'll play each other. They play each other actually at the Pentagon in South Dakota. So that'll be kind of a fun game to watch there on November 22nd. So I think he did the right thing with the schedule, kind of scheduling a little bit easier. You had a couple challenges there with Missouri. You can maybe consider San Francisco a challenge as well. I think personally they are. So it allows his team to kind of gel, get some experience as a team together, kind of compete, see what they have, and kind of prep them for Big Ten play. But they're going to definitely take a significant step up in competition when they start Big Ten play with IU there.
The Cornhuskers out of Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, last season 21-14, 7-13 in the Big Ten. 2 returning starters for Fred Hoiberg, 84 and 108. 6 years in Lincoln, brings back a lot of the same pieces. Rink Matz comes back, which is a huge get. Connor Essigan returns, Wisconsin transfer the year before. And then Sam Hoiberg, his son, and Jamarcus Lawrence. So pretty much the same team coming in. You bring in Kendall Blue from St. Thomas, which is a huge get shooting wise, and then Jared Garcia as well, who's a senior from Tulsa. So, I think they have a decent roster on paper, but stacking up to some of these teams in the Big Ten, I just don't think that they can compete. I think they'll be right around where they were last year, but they should be able to defend, hopefully, home court better. They lost a lot of games at home last year, which was a travesty for Nebraska, as they really have a tough home court environment in basketball now. So I like Hoiberg, always have. He's a good guy. Met him a couple times. Really, really stand-up guy, and a lot of respect for Fred Hoiberg. So I can't really bash anything Nebraska's has done. I mean, it was a kind of a letdown last season after a strong 23 and 24 season, but the pieces you brought are decent. But stacking up to some of these teams, I think they'll be around 10th or so in that area, maybe a little less in the Big Ten. Spoiler alert.
My big thing there is with Nebraska is if Rink Mass can even stay healthy. He missed all of last year, underwent cartilage regeneration in his left knee. I believe it was his left knee. But that's something that takes, 12 to 18 months to recover from. And he's a big dude, 6'10", 250 pounds. Anytime you have to have cartilage regeneration, and you have that much weight that you're carrying around and you're having to cut and run up and down the court of the basketball court. Not quite sure if he'll be able to stay healthy or be at kind of a full 100% consistently throughout the year. So that's kind of one of my big red flags for this Huskers team, because I think they're going to really try to rely on him a lot this year. And before I go any further, I meant to say shout out to Nebraska for winning the inaugural college basketball crown last year. That was kind of cool to see them piece that together and get some money there at the end of the season for all the players. But they bring in a combo guard. Kendall Blue comes over from St. Thomas, averaged 12 points, shot 41% from three. I think he's going to be a huge piece there in the backcourt for them. And you look at some other guys that they brought in. Jared Garcia over from Tulsa. They brought in Ugnius Jerzufisius from Central Michigan, 6'11", 220-pound guy. Price Sanford, Cale Jacobson, and then Will Cooper comes over from Air Force. So I think, you kind of hit it spot on there. They bring in a lot of guys, but can they compete with the top tier talent there in the Big Ten? I think they're deep at most of their, at the backcourt and the front court. I would like to say that, with Mass back, that makes their front court pretty damn good. However, his health is my biggest concern. And if he doesn't stay healthy, I think this team will kind of slowly tank to near the bottom of the conference. But if he's able to remain healthy, I think they will improve a little bit this year. I think they got a solid backcourt to kind of start out there at the starting position, but I just don't see depth there maybe being an issue talent wise at the backcourt position after Sejan and Hoiberg, and then there in the backcourt, you brought in the pieces as well. So interesting to see how if Rink Mass can stay healthy. If he does, I like the Huskers to take a step forward. If not, they're going to be near the bottom of the Big Ten.
Always winning in life, Redmond. Yes. It was an okay night for me. Yeah, it was like 1-1, but I hit plus 20 bet. Northwestern, the Wildcats out of Evanston, Illinois. Last season, 17-16, 7-13 in the Big Ten. A lot of 7-13s there. Chris Collins, though, returns for his 13th year, 194 and 190. One returning starter, and Nick Martinelli. But you have a lot of freshmen coming in. Trace Singleton from Jeffersonville High School in Indiana, down by Louisville. Tyler Kropp, Cade Beneman, and then Phoenix Gill, son of Kendall Gill, who played for the Charlotte Hornets in Illinois. So I'm a big fan of Chris Collins, another stand-up guy. I've met him a few times as well. Subtle flex, but those are the only two Big Ten coaches at the moment. So Chris Collins, really, really good dude, really passionate coach. I love when he gets teed up. Northwestern's kind of pesky, man. They always are pesky. They always stick around. They kind of just poke the bear a little bit, and then they attack, and soon enough you end up in overtime with the Wildcats. But, Martinelli's good. Another weird wild card team that I think could struggle, especially on the road with their talent and just kind of but what they were missing last year was depth. I know they lose a ton of their pieces and whatnot, and a lot of performers, but they have a lot more depth and guys that they can go to. Just some inexperience with those freshmen could be a concern. So a bright future ahead for Northwestern, for Chris Collins to get them back to the NCAA tournament like he did their inaugural NCAA tournament. So Collins, absolute legend, good guy, stand-up guy. But unfortunately, Northwestern, I think, is going to struggle this year, similar to they did last year. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm basically the same thing as you. I think they struggle. Where's my Northwestern? Yeah, right here. We have 5 freshmen, 3 transfers, 2 sophomores, 1 junior, 1 senior, and then you have Martinelli. So I know you added Jaden Reed, Max Green, and Arrington Page, but none of those guys are really eye-popping for me. And then it's a very young team. You lost a lot of your core, a lot of your starters from last year, and now you got to figure it out in a Big Ten that's gotten stronger this year, in my opinion. So I think this year is going to be a grow and learn year for Northwestern. I mean, Collins is gritty. His teams are always gritty. Maybe they'll find a way to pull some out of their ass once or twice this year. But I think, maybe they'll do all right versus the basement dwellers, but I don't think they're going to have much success against the middle tier to God tier teams in this conference.
They're definitely going to miss Brooks Barnheiser a lot this year, I think, in my opinion. But it does help that they bring Martinelli back. He led the Big Ten in scoring last year at 20 points, 20 and a half points a game, I should say. They bring in a couple transfers who I'm pretty high on. Jaden Reed comes over from UCF, will be their starting point guard. He's a junior, will be a junior for them. Then they also bring in over Max Green from Holy Cross, and Arrington Page comes over as a center from Cincinnati and USC. So he brings a couple guys there from kind of the high major ranks. But we'll see. A lot of question marks there with all of the young guys coming in as freshmen, and then a lot of guys that are sophomores who didn't really play a significant role last year for Northwestern. So those guys, KJ Winham, Angelo Saravino, Justin Mullins are kind of guys that are going to be relied upon to take a step forward this year. And I kind of see them as a wild card team just because not quite sure what to expect from them. I like Chris Collins as a coach. So we'll kind of see. But I agree, Trev. I think the Big Ten talent-wise is better than they were last year. And with the fact of them having to retool and rebuild with a lot of the missing pieces besides Martinelli, I think it may be a step back for them this year, or maybe a similar 7-13, but maybe that means more in the 14th, 15th type of a rank, something like that.
All right, halfway there. Elliot, we both fucking hate, or Trevor and I both fucking hate this team, more so in football, but I hate the fans personally the most. So you can read this slide.
All right. Next up, we got Ohio State Buckeyes. They're in Columbus, Ohio. Last season, 17-15, 9-11 in the Big Ten. Good for a 10th place finish. Jake Diebler is in his 3rd year now as head coach, and they bring back 3 returning starters. I think that they brought in some good pieces here in the portal, which makes them a little bit better, in my opinion, this year than they were last year. They bring in Christoph Tilley coming over from Santa Clara. He averaged 12.5 points a game last year for Santa Clara. They also bring in Brandon Knoll from Wright State. He was a 2-time second-team All-Horizon League player, averaged 19 points and 8 rebounds for Wright State there. And then they also bring in Josh Owanjuwuna from Baylor. Big kind of senior center, 6'10", 240 pounds, average 7 points, 6.5 rebounds. Just kind of a guy that fills up the space and is a defensive rim protector for them. So I think those 3 guys are going to be relied upon very heavily as transfers. In addition to bringing back their senior point guard who was with them last year, Bruce Thornton. You bring back Devin Royale, and then you also bring back John Mobley Jr., all of which who averaged over 13 points a game last year for Ohio State. So I personally, I know you guys may hate them. I think they're going to take a step forward here this year. I think they did well in the transfer portal and also brought in were able to keep additional pieces from last year's roster, which they needed. So I think they're going to take a step forward. I think they're going to finish in the top half of the conference this year. I like Diebler as a coach. And maybe you guys will get on the hate train, but I think they're in for a better year this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Ohio State this year. Lost Micah Parrish, but 3 returning starters, Thornton, Royal, and Mobley, and then you added Oji Owanu from Baylor, like you said, Tilly, Noel, and Gabe Cups. So 3 freshmen. They returned a bunch of production from last year, a lot of players, and then they went in the portal and got some really solid pickups here. So I think it's like a perfect blend. You got some freshmen to learn on. You brought in some experienced and solid portal players, as well as retained a bunch of your roster that's been here last year. And Ohio State had flashes last year where they looked really good, and then they had games where they just looked horrible. So I think another year in this system, a lot of retention, and then not overloading with new portal players and guys that are going to overtake roles. I think it's going to be a nice mix all around. So I'm high on Ohio State. I think they take a step forward this year from 10th and kind of find themselves hanging around that middle pack, maybe a little ahead of middle in this conference.
I got nothing to say. I think they're always overhyped preseason, and they've fallen flat the last 5 years. We're going to see that yet again from Ohio State.
They aren't even top 25. How are they overhyped?
They're always overhyped. Not everyone has to be top 25 to be overhyped. They're always overhyped. They were last year. They fell flat, finished 10th. It's being overhyped in the Big Ten with 18 teams. You can be projected to be 8th or 7th. But if I have them finishing in the bottom bracket, then they're a little overhyped. The Ducks from Oregon, out of Eugene, last season 25-10, 12-8 in the Big Ten, tied for 7th with 2 returning starters for Dana Altman, another great coach that I know we know what to expect. Lose a lot of key pieces, unfortunately. Bartholomew, but you bring back Nate Biddle and Jackson Shelstad, who's going to be solid on offense. I absolutely love them. They're great leaders on the floor, and then Biddle just an absolute presence down low, tons of blocks. But Dana Altman did pretty good in the portal as well. Brings in TK Simpson from Elon, and then Devin Pryor also from Texas. So he's always going to get those guys rolling. You got to trust the Dana Altman ran unit. He definitely knows how to adjust, how to win in multiple conferences, and win in the NCAA tournament as well. And he's been able to do that in the portal. He's been able to do that in this NIL era, which has been an issue for some of these coaches with longevity under them. But he's a true grit guy, and I like Dana Altman, and I got respect for Oregon. I think they're a good team, and it'll be interesting to see Biddle and Shelstad again after how well they produced last year take another massive leap in 25-26.
Yeah, it's Dana Altman. He's always good. You got 2 starters back and 6 scholarship players total. Yeah, like you said, Biddle, Shelstad, Kwame Evans, Jr. all back. They got Sean Stewart, Devin Pryor, and TK Simpkins out of the portal. They retain a fair amount of the roster. Brought in some decent portal pieces. Simpkins is a bucket getter, but the other 2 just kind of providing stability and defense for whenever their starters need breathers. So Biddle's going to have backup to 2 or 3 guys that can come in and back him up. If they get into a up and down game, they can just leave Biddle out there if they're going against Purdue, Illinois, somebody they have another big they can bring in and bang bodies with instead of just letting Biddle getting killed because he's not the biggest dude. He's kind of not scrawny, but he's not for his frame. He's not the biggest guy. But Dana Altman always finds a way. I mean, Oregon had flashes last year, similar to Ohio State, and just kind of like flared out a little bit, and they still finished 7th in the conference. So I think they're going to be solid this year. I think Oregon takes a little bit of a step forward. I don't think they're going to find themselves competing to win the Big Ten, but I think they can take a step forward closer to a top 5 in this conference potentially if all goes well for Oregon.
Yeah, I'm a big Jackson Shelstad guy. He's a guy down the stretch when you need a bucket, he's going to get it. He proved that last year in several close games. So I think that helps them out tremendously that you've got a guy that you can rely on to get a bucket down the stretch. There at point guard. Another guy I'm high on who I think is going to take a step forward this year is Kwame Evans. Last year, averaged 6 points, 4.5 rebounds for the Ducks. Didn't play as much as he's going to have to play this year. And then another guy, Jamari Phillips. He's another guy, 6'3", sophomore guard. Didn't get a lot of burn last year, but Coach Altman is expecting him to have to step up and play a significant number of minutes for them to be competitive, or highly competitive, I should say, here in the Big Ten. I do like the transfers they bring in. Sean Stewart's another guy that I'll mention who also transferred in, comes from Ohio State after averaging 6 points, 6 rebounds last year. Kind of a 6'9", 4-man power forward who I think will be good within Altman's system. So, yeah, I'm high on Oregon here. I think they test themselves early. They got Auburn and San Diego State pretty early on in the season. So look forward to watching those games. And they also play South Dakota State. So Altman's not afraid to schedule some guys there in the non-conference. So looking forward to yet another season. And I think when you get some close games down the stretch, watch out for Shelstad to make a play, get a bucket, and kind of get Oregon in that +4 or 5 win column there in the close games, just due to his ability to be clutch down the stretch.
All right, the Penn State Nittany Lions last season 16-15, 6-14 in the Big Ten. One returning starter for Mike Rhodes as he enters year 3 with a perfect 32-32, but not so perfect that 500 doesn't cut it. 14-16, then 16-15. If you do the math there in his 2 seasons. I like Mike Rhodes, great coach at VCU, but it's been a tough transition to the Big Ten, especially retaining talent, I would say. I do like he brings in Sasa Siani from Illinois Chicago as well, too. And then Josh Reed from Cincinnati, which I think could be an interesting get for Penn State. But they got a lot of problems with this roster, man. I think this is the worst roster on paper and probably the worst team, unfortunately. But I think Mike Rhodes definitely has some good intangibles. He kind of whined a little bit. His gripe was fine. It was warranted, I guess. But maybe take a step back a little bit. But at the end of the day, Penn State, they're a football school, even if they can only go 9-3 with their previous coach. But they had a good run with Shrewsbury a couple years ago. Tons of good players to watch on that roster. And we bet on them a lot, Trevor, back in the old OG pump fake days. So the Nittany Lions, man, they're going to be at the bottom of the Big Ten. I'm sorry. Hate to say it, but they looking at this roster, man, I just don't think that they can compete as compared to these other teams, especially with depth.
Yeah. Really not much more to say. I mean, DeLone returns, but losing Baldwin and 9 other players, pretty brutal for you. I mean, they added a big freshman class / Euro Pro Bowl class. I mean, they got their highest rated recruiting program history, Caden Mingo. They got Ivan Juric, a touted big man, Sunrise Academy in Kansas from Croatia. I mean, a whole bunch of other overseas players. You lost a lot of players, almost everyone, and now you're bringing in a bunch of new guys, some Europeans, some freshmen. He added Sisa Siani and Josh Reed. So I mean, nothing really eye popping. Um, I just think this is another rough one for Mike Roach. He's a great coach, but he never really has talent. I mean, Penn State did finish, one game over 500 last year, but got absolutely smoked in the Big Ten. Now this roster looks considerably worse on paper and talent wise, given what they lost and having to restart now all over again in a revitalized kind of Big Ten year. It feels like so. Um, yeah, I'm nothing on them on Penn State. I got them finishing dead last as a spoiler.
Yeah, you look at what they did last year. 10-1 in non-conference play, then they entered Big Ten play, and ended up going 6-14, which barely got them above 500 on the season. I think looking at the schedule non-conference wise, they could start out at potentially 8-1, 9-0 yet again, with just the lack of competition that they schedule. I think the one game that they might lose is they've got Providence. They're at Mohegan Sun. They're in Connecticut, so that's maybe their one non-conference game that they're going to drop. So I expect a similar similar year for Penn State. Going to be look like they're going to be good on paper record wise, just because they're going to start out 9-1, then they're going to enter the gauntlet of the Big Ten, and they're going to get humbled really quick. I think the reason why is because they just have no front court talent, no real size there. Trev, you mentioned Siani and Reed coming over from Cincinnati and UIC, and I just don't think that. They lack the depth, and they lack the front court size, talent, and athleticism to be competitive in the Big Ten. So I expect a similar outing for them. They're going to start out 8-1, 9-0, something like that. People are going to be like, "Oh my God, this Penn State team might be good," and then they're going to hit Big Ten play, and it's going to all come crashing down, and everybody's going to be in for a rude awakening. And they're going to finish near the last, near the bottom of the conference, again, like they did last year.
All right. Yep, can agree with that. The Boilermakers. Trevor, take it away, my friend. This is your team.
It's not my team. It's I root for him, but end of the day, it's Bucky over everything. But yeah, 4 returning starters. I mean, you got Braden Smith, Fletcher, Trey Kaufman, and then who's the other guy? Forget his name, but CJ Cox. Returning those guys. So I mean, that's an elite group to bring back. Lost Caleb first, Miles Colvin, Camden Heidi, Waddell, and then Will Berg, the other big man, the redhead. But got Oscar Clough out of the portal. Huge get for Purdue. Big man, can do it all. And then you got Jacobson coming back from injury. I mean, he was going to be their 5 last year until the injury, and then that forced Kaufman Wren to slide down and play a different position. Which you could tell there were games he was just not ready, and he was not prepared for that. It was pretty ugly. At times there, and it really bit him in the ass. And they still had a fairly decent season, given the what they lost. So now you got Jacobson back, and you had Oscar Clough in there, and you got your returning guys coming in. They brought in some great freshmen and portal pieces. TKR is going to slide back to his normal position, so you're going to have him and Clough on the floor, along with Lawyer and Braden. It's going to be a really good year. This front court, I think, has the potential to be like the most dominant front court in the Big Ten. I think Purdue is going to be a massive problem this year. I think they're really good, and they've got a ton of postseason experience now, and so now you've got arguably one of your better teams outside of the Zach Edey team. You've got depth, you've got experience, and older players. So you're going to lose these guys next year. So it's now or never, and I think Purdue's loaded up and ready for a massive run this year. So barring injuries, Purdue is going to be a force to be reckoned with this season. So high on Purdue. I think they're going to be damn good, and I think they're going to be on a mission all year.
Yeah, I agree, Trev. they got their guy there in the portal that they were wanting in Oscar Clough to kind of fill that void there at the center spot. And then they bring back, all of the other starters, like you had mentioned, for three of them, like you said, going to be their last kind of go around with Braden Smith, Lawyer, and TKR. So expect them to, come with a chip on their shoulder and wanting to definitely come back and finish higher than fourth there in the Big Ten, but also not only that, but make a splash there in postseason play there in the NCAA tournament. And then you look at the reserves too. I mean, top to bottom, they're at the reserve level too. They're talented. They got Daniel Jacobson, 7'4", 250-pound redshirt freshman. Omer Meyer coming in as a freshman, played at Maccabi Tel Aviv there in Israel, in Israel's top league. You got Liam Murphy coming over from North Florida, Antoine West as a freshman, another guy who possibly will see some time there at the guard spot. And then a couple other freshmen who I don't really see necessarily playing a lot just due to the guards that they have in front of them. But, Painter's trying to also build for the future while also capitalizing on what he has right now. And I think he did so with getting Clough there in the portal. I expect for a lot of people to jump on the train, on the Purdue train, and kind of ride the coattails and think that they're going to be one of the teams to beat here in the entire nation and a force to be reckoned with. So we'll see if they can live up to those expectations.
Yeah, overrated. All right, Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights, New Brunswick, New Jersey last season, 15-17, 8-12 in the Big Ten. One returning starter for Steve Peichel, 147 and 140 for his entering his 10th year. And he's had some good rosters. I mean, he's had good talent roll through there as well, but just lacks some execution, but has had good teams. So they're kind of just going to be your classic old-fashioned Rutgers team. They're going to be gritty. They're going to be physical. They're going to be defensive-minded, and force you to take that find an open shot because they're not going to give you much on defense at all. And I like what Steve Peichel brings as a coach. I think he definitely has good tendencies and constantly can win games, even with some of even having a less talented team versus a team he's playing. So, I don't know. I mean, a good home court and Jersey Mike's or whatever it's called, and I don't know. I'm worried about their talent on paper, but I like their intangibles, in between the line kind of stuff, and what they got going on behind the scenes, at least in Rutgers. And I feel like they're kind of they're growing into somewhat of a basketball program. They got good attendance at home, like I mentioned, with that home court advantage. But yeah, I don't know. I think talent wise may be tough, but definitely will win some games at home and probably some upsets in the Big Ten. So middle of the road, maybe at the bottom half.
Yeah, Rutgers, where you at? Yeah, one returning starter. You lost Harper and Bailey. That's brutal, but you added Tariq Francis, the American East Rookie of the Year, the Zorno guy, Bosnia Pro Bowl, and then Buchanan Jr. was solid at George Washington State, and then they have the 38 ranked freshman class. So, they brought in some decent pieces to return to kind of fill the void or try to fill the void for Harper and Bailey scoring wise, but they got some depth, but nothing really eye popping or anything that's crazy on this team, I think. So I think the floor is going to be wide open for players, and whoever wants to step up and be the guy to get a bucket. Because when you lose Harper and Bailey, you got to figure out who's going to be the go-to guy who wants to step up. I think Rutgers is in for a little bit. I think similar year. I don't think they get any worse, but I don't think they get any better with what they brought in. But losing Harper and Bailey just kind of allows the floor to open up more and see what else you have on the team. So I think it'll be a similar year, maybe a step back, just given the talent loss. But I'm not really expecting anything too much from Rutgers. I mean, they always have like a stretch or two where they look good for a week and then they just flare out miserably. So, yeah. kind of just same old Rutgers for me. I mean, Pikel's 147 and 140 in 9 years, so it's kind of just about the same thing every year, just middle of the pack.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be very good this year. I personally don't like what they brought in there in the transfer class. I don't think they're going to be able to get a lot of the production there at the freshman spots like they did, obviously, with Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey leaving in the draft. You bring in Tariq Francis, comes over from NJIT. He was the America East Rookie Player of the Year, led the conference in scoring at 19 points a game. However, now you're expecting that to translate at the Big Ten level. I just don't see that happening. One guy I do see that's going to be significant for them and be a guy that is going to be very productive, I think, personally, is Darren Buchanan. Comes over from George Washington, averaged 10.5 points, 6 rebounds. I think he's going to be a guy that they're going to rely on heavily. And he's somebody that I think personally that can compete at the Big Ten level. So look out for him this year. Really down low, not quite sure how they're going to attack it, who they're going to use. Maybe they'll use Emmanuel Ogbole. He was there last year. He's a 6'10" center. Didn't do very much for him last year, but they do return him. Bring in Bay Fall. He comes over from Kansas State. Didn't even see the court from us. Used to be a top 40 recruit. Originally signed with Arkansas, then came over to K-State. Didn't see the floor. Not quite sure if he's going to even see the floor here at Rutgers. If he does, that I think, in my opinion, is a problem. So I see Rutgers finishing near the bottom of the Big Ten here, and not much else I really have to say.
All right, the UCLA Bruins out of Los Angeles, California, last season 23-11, 13-7 in the Big Ten. 3 returning starters from Mick Cronin. It was a tough start at the beginning of the year, but they really kind of found their stride and won some good Big Ten games at least. Mick Cronin, good coach. Not the biggest fan of him personally, but he is a good coach. Give kudos there. You bring in Donovan Dent from New Mexico, which is just going to be massive as well. And then also Tyler Bilodeau from Oregon State comes back. Xavier Booker from Michigan State comes into UCLA. So some great gets from Cronin and some key retainees as well too. So UCLA on paper, man, they got a great roster. And Dent's I think he's gonna be just fine in the Big Ten, coming from the Mountain West. He knows how to play in tough environments, and may be shook on a couple away games in this conference specifically. But his talent alone, he's an ISO kind of guy. He's fun to watch, and I'm excited to watch him at UCLA, even if it is under Mick Cronin. So you bring back a good core, you add in Dent. It's NIL, baby, and it's California. And Mick Cronin wants to win here. I think he really likes his job. He enjoys his job at UCLA, even with his snide comments all the time. But hey, I think UCLA is a powerhouse and definitely could. Can't believe I'm saying this. Win the Big Ten.
Yeah, to your point, those snide comments. I mean, the players obviously love him. Otherwise, they wouldn't deal with all that shit all the time that he gives in the media, and who knows what behind closed doors. So, obviously, they really like him. But UCLA, where you at? I got to scroll the way up. Here we go. Yeah, 3 returning starters. I mean, you lost Dylan Andrews, Johnson, Sebastian Mack, Ademara, and then Lazar Stefanovic. But yeah, the get of Dent, Xavier Booker, and Jamar Brown are big hole plugs, given what they lost. I mean, Donovan Dent, obviously an upgrade from Sebastian Mack and whoever else was running point there. Xavier Booker is going to be a force down low. Granted, you lose Mara, the 7'3" guy, but Xavier Booker's still a dog and kind of just fell out of role in Michigan State. So he'll get a new chance here. And then Jamar Brown, elite scorer. So, I mean, they retained a good chunk of his roster. You got 3 starters back, and now you're going to add Donovan Dent in there, the facilitation master, the guy who can do it all. If you need a bucket, he'll get it for you. If you got an open guy on the floor, he's going to find him and hit him. So they can hit their shots. I mean, Dent's going to find them and just keep throwing him the ball. So really talented squad here. I think they're going to be used to the travel more than when they were last year. That definitely caught them and a bunch of the West Coast teams off guard, traveling across 2-3 time zones and then flying all the way back. Really, really took a toll. So I think they're going to be more prepared for all of that this year. And yeah, I'm high on UCLA. I think they're going to be damn good. This is Cronin's best team he's had in a long time, and definitely at UCLA. So this is the year for Cronin. I think UCLA makes some noise and takes a step forward.
Yeah, not much else for me to add here. I think you guys are spot on. They bring back a lot. I think obviously the key addition is Donovan Dent coming over at the point guard spot. I expect Sky Clark. He was there last year, transferred in from Louisville the year before. Kind of took a step back last year, but I think along to have a backcourt mate like Donovan Dent will allow Sky Clark to play better. And then Xavier Booker is the guy that I think was kind of the starting power forward for Michigan State the last 2 years for Izzo, kind of fell off, didn't really see a lot of playing time. Now he's moved over to the center spot there under Cronin, and I think it may be good for him to kind of just get a change of pace. 6'11" guy, average 4 points, 2 rebounds, not much production. But now that he's able to get a change of scenery, start kind of fresh at a new position, new school, new coach, I think that's good for him. And then I'm high on Steven Jamerson. He's a guy that they brought over from San Diego. 6'10", 230, average 10 points, 8 rebounds for San Diego last year. And then a guy that you had mentioned, Jamar Brown. He's a scoring guard, comes over from UMKC. Shot 40% from the three last year. He's a career 36, almost 37% three-point shooter, but averaged 17 a game there for the Kangaroos. So I think that was a big get to just kind of solidify the guard position, just depth-wise. And I think him coming off the bench as a scoring, an immediate scoring impact off the bench is going to be really key for the Bruins throughout the season.
All right, the University of Spoiled Children. Southern California, the Trojans out of Los Angeles, California, 17-18, 7-13, 0 returning starters for Eric Musselman. But he brings in some great pieces. Chad Baker-Mazara from Auburn, Rodney Rice from Maryland, Jordan March from UNC Asheville, and then Ryan Cornish. Remember him from Dartmouth. Does it feel like the year that Musselman outperforms the roster and gets them to be a winning team? I don't know. For some reason it does for me, but then again, they are lacking. I feel like they're go-to guy. They definitely have Rice and Mazzara that's able to be there, but them alone, I don't know if they have the best cohesive unit, but I trust Musselman. He definitely can coach them up and get them there as well too. But he's kind of like a recruit. And if they can stay healthy, they have some experience to win some games. And it's always a tough travel spot going to USC or any type of a road trip such as that. So, I don't know. This is my wild card team. I don't really know what to expect from this team. I feel like they'll be good at times and we don't expect them to be, and then we'll be bad when we expect them to be good. So, I don't know. This feels like a wild card for me. This is the one I've been going back and forth with. So I kind of want to pose the question: is this the year Musselman gets that random kind of team up and ready and rolling in conference play?
I like this roster. You lost Wesley Yates and Desmond Claude, but you added Rodney Rice, Baker-Mazara, Jordan Marsh, Ryan Cornish, Gabe Dines, 7'5", by the way, shot blocker, and then Amarian Dickerson, Horizon Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. So they addressed their defensive issues right there, and it all came out of the Horizon League with your 7'5" big man, and then your Defensive Player of the Year. You got Ezra Alsar from Utah, and then Jaden Brunell from Samford. The pieces they brought in aren't scrubs. These are all really good players. So the fact that they're coming in, they address the defensive problems, and then the offense they lost with Claude and Yates. They also address Rodney Rice, Baker-Mazara, Jordan Marsh, Cornish is a sharpshooter. Jaden Brunell can get buckets. So paper, this roster is really good. I'm a really big fan of it. They got Gilbert Arenas' kid, Elijah Arenas. He's going to miss the non-con and maybe some of the conference schedule because of a car accident. But I mean, I like what's on paper here. They addressed their issues. They fixed what they lost in the scoring, and then they have a talented freshman and Arenas who probably won't be a factor this year, but they'll have him, once he recovers and practice and get him ready for next year. So I mean, I like this team. I'm fairly high on USC. I think they make a significant jump forward from 12th last year. Musselman is, he gets the most out of his guys, and given this talented roster, I mean, if they want to win and they're willing to listen, I think it's going to be a good team.
Yeah, I think this team would be. It was unfortunate when Elijah Arenas was not able to participate this year, probably just due to that car accident. I think they were going to rely on him heavily for a lot of the scoring. They're at the guard play, just losing Desmond Claude and Wesley Yates last year. But you guys talked a lot about the guard play. They do bring in Gabe Dines. If anybody are familiar, 7'5", comes in from Youngstown State, the shot blocking specialist, averaged 3 blocks a game last year for the Penguins. So interesting to see him kind of compete day in and day out in the Big Ten. But they also bring in Amarian Dickerson, comes over from Robert Morris, averaged 13.6 rebounds for Robert Morris. So I think he's going to be a guy there in the front court that can definitely play significant minutes for them. And then a couple other guys. Ezra Azar comes over from Utah, averaging 12 points, 5 rebounds. And then Jaden Brownell, 14 points, 4 rebounds, comes over from Sanford. Kind of a big 6'10" guy who also can stretch the floor and shoot it. Shoots it at about a 38% clip there from 3. So, I think they've got a good roster, really talented roster. It's always easier to take off your shirt there in California instead of Arkansas. So maybe we see a lot more shirts removed by Musselman here in year 2. And we'll kind of see how that translates. And I'm kind of right there with you, Huff. I think maybe this might be the year that USC takes a significant step forward, and maybe they get lucky. Elijah Arenas gets a little bit healthier, and they can have him there in the in conference play. Because I think he's that scorer that they're kind of missing there at the guard level. But I expect USC to take a jump comparative from last year.
All right, the Huskies from Washington, Seattle. Last season, 13-18 for Danny Sprinkle's first year, 4-16 in the Big Ten, 1 returning starter. You bring back Zoom Jallo and Frank Kapang. As you do lose Great Ozabar, but some decent pieces brought in as well. You bring in USC's scores of Desmond Claude and Wesley Yates, Quamari Peterson from East Tennessee State, who was the SoCon Player of the Year. I like this Washington roster. I think it's definitely going to be subtly improved. They take somewhat of a step up. It's not hard finishing dead last in an 18-team conference, but on paper, they got the roster to step up and take that next step, especially with Danny Sprinkle as a coach that I really enjoy. I like what he's able to do. They may lack depth. They may be struggling if they, get injured, can't stay healthy come March. But they should be able to win more games than they did last year in the Big Ten and stay a little more competitive for year 2 for Danny Sprinkle for me.
Yeah, I like this team. 1 returning starter. I mean, 13 newcomers, but you added Haynes Steinbach, projected first-round draft pick from Germany for the 4. You got Wesley Yates and Desmond Claude from USC, so you got some great guard play along with two bucket getters. And then Quamari Peterson, he won the SoCon Player of the Year. Then Jacob Ognasevic won the ASUN Player of the Year last year. So they added some talent. They got deeper. They addressed the guard issues. And last year's team really revolved around Osabar. If he had a bad game, it pretty much just went to hell. Just you could have packed it up and they were going to lose by 20, 25. So I think they got better this year. They added more pieces, more of a team aspect versus just having the one guy that they dropped all their NIL money for to keep with Sprinkles. So I think Washington takes a step forward. I don't think they're going to be the basement dweller of this conference this year. So I like Washington to definitely be more competitive and be in some more games this year.
Yeah, I like what Danny Sprinkle brought in here in year 2. I think he's going to take a step forward here for the Huskies. And I love Zoom Diallo. Love the name, but also love the way that he plays. Another guy, Hannes Steinbach. You know, um, they got him. He was kind of a projected NBA first round pick. Ended up being able to pull him and kind of convince him to come over to Washington as well. So I think they've got the talent for sure. And I expect them to get out of the bottom of the basement there in the Big Ten this year and take a step forward.
All right, Trevor, the ultimate team of this conference preview and our final team of all conference previews to go over in detail, if that makes you feel anything. Your Bucky Badgers, take it away.
Muted. Yeah, I just got to find my my notes from this team where there they are. Yep, 2 returning starters for Bucky here. We lost John Tanji. Fuck my life. That's terrible. And Stephen Crowell, Max Klesmik, Kamari McGee, Carter Gilmore, and Xavier Amos, all gone off this team. They brought in one of my FAU goats, Nick Boyd. Shout out him. Andrew Rohde from Virginia, Austin Rapp from Portland, Braden Carrington, from Tulsa. He also played at Minnesota prior. And then they got Alex Bilaskas, Lithuania Pro Bowl, and then Zach Kinzinger. From De Pere, Johnny Kinzinger's brother. De Pere, 25 minutes up north for me here. I mean, 24 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists a game. He's a huge get. Especially they're going to need to get him going to help this team out. He's really good. You got Nolan Winter and John Blackwell back. So I mean, they've lost a fair amount from last year. Yeah, but I think the portal pieces they brought in are solid. Nick Boyd to run the show. Rohde and Rapp. Rapp is a guy who can step out and shoot the 3. He can also bang in the paint and get some rebounds. So I think that was a good ad. The freshman and Kinzinger is going to be huge. They just got to play him. He's going to be good. So, I think guard managed to add a decent amount of talent in the portal. I knew Tanji was going to be gone, but I wasn't sure how they would do. Wisconsin isn't like an actual destination place, but they're a respectable basketball program. The football is completely different, but I think they got some pieces to pick up the slack from Tanji. They got shooters. They may lack a little bit of size on the inside, which can kill them considering how big the Big Ten is, especially with these top powerhouses. But I think Wisconsin will be all right. They're not going to be anywhere near as good as they were last year, but I don't think they're going to fall off the face of the planet and be a basement dweller or anything. They're probably going to sit around middle of the pack in the Big Ten this year. So that's how I feel about Bucky. Give guard this year. If it's another shitty year, he's on the hot seat for the year after. But after last year, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt and the talent and the pieces that were brought in. I really like. So we'll see how Bucky does this year.
11th year for Greg Gard. I can't believe it. Yeah, Trevor, you said it best. I think it's definitely good pieces brought in. Wisconsin's always going to be feisty. They're a good program. And they know how to win at home and definitely win at home at the Kohl Center in the Big Ten. So, yeah, I'm high on Wisconsin. I think they're definitely up there. They're going to be competitive and win double-digit games in the Big Ten this year yet again.
Yeah, I like the fact that they brought in Nick Boyd coming over from San Diego State. Anytime that you're able to get a veteran point guard, 24-year-old who has such a good amount of experience there at the college level, I think that's a significant get for Greg Gard there. Kind of surprised that they kind of were in that top 25 just with everything that they had lost. And the fact that a lot of the pieces that they bring in are a little bit unproven per se, besides maybe Nick Boyd. But yeah, I think I'm right there with you, Trev. They're not going to be as good. However, they're still going to be a force to be reckoned with there in the Big Ten. Definitely going to be in that top half of the conference for sure.
All righty. That is it for our conference previews. We do have our final prediction, bottoms up. We'll go from 18th to 1st. All of us share. All of our conference previews have been tweeted. They're on our Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, with all graphics. So you can haze us or challenge us and hold us to the fire here come March if we're completely wrong. But doesn't matter. Don't care. Preseason's a bunch of crap. We're season's upon us. We got Futures episode tomorrow. Make sure to like and subscribe. The Pump Fake Pod. Futures episode tomorrow goes off 10:45, 9:45 Central. And then also on Sunday, time TBD, but somewhere around 10 Eastern, we're going to do our first betting show. Collectively up 150 units as a squad last year, 150 plus, I think like 164, something like that. It was insane. So look out this year. We're going to be on the hunt and ready to go in November. I feel very prepared due to these conference previews, but I am tired. I think we're all tired, and the season's just about to get started. 18th for me, Penn State.
Yeah, I've got
My bad, I was muted.
Oh, you're good. I've
Penn
got
State.
I've got Penn State as well for me.
Not always every time we cross the board there. Okay, 17th for me is going to be I'm gonna go Minnesota. It'll be a tough year for Medved year one, but he gets that program back.
I've got Minnesota as well.
Got Rutgers.
16th for me is Rutgers.
16th for me is Northwestern.
Elliot, 16th.
Yep. I'm gonna go Minnesota here.
All right, 15th for me is Northwestern.
15th for me is Rutgers.
15th, Nebraska.
All right, 14th for me is going to be Ohio State.
14th is Ohio State. 14th for me, Maryland. Well, you have Ohio State at 14. Oh, yeah, never mind. They lost.
Overrated.
What do you got? 14, Trev?
14, I have Maryland.
Yep, that's my 14 spot as well, Maryland.
13th is my Maryland spot.
13th for me is Washington.
And actually, I forgot I need to put Northwestern in there. So Maryland's my 13, Northwestern's my 14.
All right, 12th for me is Nebraska.
12 for me is Indiana.
That's just completely wrong. All right.
12 for me going to be USC.
11th for me is Washington.
11th for me is Nebraska.
I've got 11. I'll put Washington there at number 11.
Number 10 for me is USC.
10 for me is Iowa.
Got Ohio State, number 10.
Ninth for me is Wisconsin.
9th for me is USC.
9. I've got Iowa here at number 9.
I actually had those two flipped. I apologize. I had 9th Iowa, 8th Wisconsin. My apologies, Trev.
You're good. 8 is my Wisconsin.
8 is
So we're both 8. Let's go, Trev. We're on that together. Let's go.
8 is Indiana for me.
Let's go. 7th for me is going to be Michigan State.
7th for me is Oregon.
7.
I'm sorry. 7th for me is Ohio State.
7 for me, Wisconsin.
6 for me is going to be Illinois.
6 for me is Oregon.
6 for me is Oregon.
5th for me is Oregon.
5th for me is Michigan State.
5th for me, Michigan State.
4th for me is IU.
4th for me, UCLA.
4th for me is going to be I'll go UCLA.
3rd for me is Michigan.
3rd for me is Michigan also.
3rd for me, Michigan.
2 for me, Purdue. Number 1, UCLA.
2 Illinois, 1 Purdue.
Yep, I'm right there with you, Trev. 2 Illinois, 1 Purdue.
All right, so UCLA, Purdue, Michigan, IU, Oregon, Illinois, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Iowa, USC, Washington, Nebraska, Maryland, Ohio State, Northwestern, Rutgers, Minnesota, and Penn State rounds out my conference previews, all 31 out of there.
All right. Mine, starting from top to bottom, is Purdue, Illinois, Michigan, UCLA, Michigan State, Oregon, Ohio State, Wisconsin, USC, Iowa, Nebraska, Indiana, Washington, Maryland, Rutgers, Northwestern, Minnesota, and Penn State. Rounds out my Big 18.
Yep, and I've got number 1 Purdue, 2 Illinois, 3 Michigan, 4 UCLA, 5 Michigan State, 6 Oregon, 7 Wisconsin, 8 Indiana, 9 Iowa, 10 Ohio State, 11 Washington, 12 USC, 13 Maryland, 14 Northwestern, 15 Nebraska, 16 Minnesota, 17 Rutgers, and 18 Penn State.
All right, disclaimer, I'm not a IU fan. Disclaimer, don't like Purdue. All right, so yeah, I don't know if he's feeling okay. You have to check him, Jen. He only can talk like -7.5s and 8 and +8s. But hey, we're almost there. The season's upon us. Thanks everyone for tuning in to all of our conference previews. Tomorrow night or tonight, we're going to be doing a futures episode. It worked out for me last year. I had 2 futures in the NCAA championship. Never had that happen before. So. Yeah, I'm excited. Future episode. Not always our strong suit. We don't do too many futures, but we are going to be unveiling a new segment. And I think we got a master of futures coming up here. Going to discuss tomorrow with a special guest on the show. And then on Sunday, we're going to do our big betting preview Sunday night, probably around 10 Eastern, like I said earlier in the show. But want to plug it again. The Pump Fake Pod will be going live Sunday, 10 Eastern, to go over all of the pregame slates. So yeah, see everyone tomorrow. Everyone got some fun?
I am feeling good. I had to say something nice about Illinois to be an unbiased podcaster. Once the ball's tipped, we'll see how my tune changes.
Oh yeah, it'll change. Illinois will let us down. They always will. They always do. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Jen, Raymond, Ken, Redman, appreciate all you guys in the chat. You guys and anyone I miss, Virgil, Austin. We'll see you guys soon. See you tomorrow and see you Sunday. And make sure to like and subscribe to Pump Fake Pod. Peace and love, everyone.
Yes.